set of 12 different pigments. The only thing that bummed me out when I did buy this set is there's no green. But there is a duo, like blue-green. So, like the way you hold it in the light, it'll be kind of greenish and then kind of bluish. Carbon black, pumpkin orange, salmon pink, pink gold, which is actually super pretty. This color swatch doesn't do it justice. Reflex violet, gray lavender, mink, sky blue, pearl white, antique bronze, sunset gold, and blue duo green. They are 0.11 ounces, and on their own, they just act as like a powder or a glitter. They need to be activated with gum arabic in order to get it to be tacky and stick and stay. So I have some gum arabic as well. They are not the same brand. This is the Pearl Ex, and then this is the Checo card. This was fairly cheap though. This is exactly 1 ounces, and a little goes a long way. Okay, first one up, carbon black. Each one has a little peel off. Ooh. That is definitely very black. It does have a little bit of shine to it, but based on just this, I mean, it looks extremely dark and black. Based on the swatch on the packaging, it's apparently has a shimmer to it, but I guess I can kind of see it. Maybe once it's thinned out a little bit. It says sealed for your protection. I'm not really sure. Maybe just in general, like any kind of sealed packaging, that it's not contaminated. But I have seen a couple people talk about inhaling, which makes sense. Probably shouldn't inhale pure pigment powder. So this is pumpkin orange. This one definitely has a lot more shine to it right off. Two bitty sparkles. That is extremely orange. I originally bought this set because I had a commission that she asked or requested for a glitter coating on a card, and it gave me an excuse to buy them because I have been wanting them for a long time. So I was like, sure. Buying them in the packaging too was a lot better than buying them singly, if I recall. This one is salmon pink. Next up, pink gold. I have used this one already. This is the one that I used for the card. And it is very beautiful. Like I said, the packaging does not give it justice. It has a very gold kind of color to it, or shine, but the pigment is pink. It's very pretty. I loved working with it. Reflex Violet, even looking at the container on the outside, super bright. Gorgeous. So I don't know what to do because I might use this on my mermaid scales, but I'm gonna have to test it out and see how thin I can get it. I don't know if I want it to be that neon-y. So we'll see. If I can get it to fade slightly, then I might use that one. We do have gray lavender as well. I have used this also for another project that I did, and it's actually it can be quite a bit darker, especially if I do like a purple coating first and then add this on top as an additional layer, which is my plan B if this one is too much for the mermaid tail scales. Mink. I like that this seal comes off easy because it would be super sad if it was like super rough to get off, then you lose quite a bit of the pigment. So this is kind of pretty. It almost looks like blue iridescent glitter. It's a pretty color on top of the brown. I honestly don't know what I would use it for though. I'm not really sure what I would use the brown for. Sky blue. That is very pretty. So this I might use for the scales as well. There are some like brighter looking scales based on her shaping. Like ones that saw the light or seeing the light more. So this might be my go-to for them. Ooh, yeah. Very pretty. Sky blue. Yeah, I like that one. We'll have to, again, we'll test out a couple of them before applying them to the mermaid. Pearl white. There are a couple of scales that are left on purpose white, so we can add those to it. I also am debating on adding pearlescent to her skin on certain sections, kind of implying that she is magical and glittery, and also like that the sun is like shining on her and her skin is wet and glistening. We'll see. Antique bronze. So again, I don't know what I would use brown for in a glitter, but that is pretty. And this one is more gold flaked than the mink was more of that blue flakes. Nice. Sunset gold I have already used on a previous project. I used it for a ribbon on a card. And it is, I would think, more bronzy. When I used it, I wanted it to be more, I don't know, extremely bright gold. Like, the only thing I can think of is like gold in a pawn shop, like just gold. And it wasn't at all. It was extremely dark, and I had to thin it out quite a bit, and I ended up putting a base layer of like a bright yellow underneath it to thin it out. It was still very pretty, but quite very dark compared to what I had originally planned. And lastly, the Duo Blue Green, which I think is what I wanted to use on her scales, but she doesn't have a lot of green on her tail, so I don't know, we'll see. I haven't worked with this yet, so. I am not seeing the green right just yet, just the blue. I guess I kinda see it here. So in order to activate them and not use all of the pigments, I'm just going to put a portion inside of the ceramic. Might do a little bit of everything that I have, and we can play with the swatches. So again, adding our gum arabic. And again, a little goes a long way, especially if you're doing small projects. So I don't need an exceptional amount. Like I'm planning on just doing like possibly her back, or maybe her arms, her face with that. I can't remember let's read the bottle before we get too big. Add a dry gum to pigment in a ratio of 1 part gum and 4 parts pigment. Ooh. So, I do not need a bunch. Let's go with this. This is the Duo Blue. Double dipping here. And again, I'm doing a small tail, so I'm not going to need a lot. This is Sky Blue. I did mess around with them a little bit, so like if the portions are off, I can always add a little bit more of the gum, or I could add a little bit more of the pigment. So I'm not too concerned about the measuring. We're doing gray lavender. The great thing about them too is that they can be reactivated just like watercolors. So the project that I used the gray lavender on for Virgo, I still have that in another palette, and I pull it out all the time and just reactivate it. Add the water to it. I have a notebook. This is not watercolor paper, but it's black, so just for swatching purposes, we can use this and see what they look like on black as well as white. I think I had a dropper for this once. I can't find my dropper. Seeing the green a little bit more in there now that it's wet. It's probably way too much water, but again, it'll dry and it can be reactivated. Plus there's a lot in the brush. It's mixing well. Alright, let's test it out on white paper. Get an idea. So obviously I have a lot of water, but I like that it can be thinned this much, just because I'm thinking about my fin. See how it dries. The shimmer is doing well. Sorry if you guys can't see it. So it's probably because of all the water, but so far not showing up blue on the black paper. It is glittery, I can see the glitter, but the color itself is not coming through. And that might have been my water consistency. I'm not planning on painting with these, so I'm okay with that. They're meant to be more of accents. So I would paint the piece first and then just add this on top. So now that this one's dried, the sparkle is definitely coming through on there. So I assume the white, ooh, that's pretty. I'm assuming the white isn't going to show up on the paper, but it's got a nice shimmer to it. That's kind of what I want for her skin anyway, just to have a shimmer. I don't want it to overthrow all the other skin tones that I have in there. The white is showing up a little bit better on the black paper, I had quite a bit of pigment on my brush, but it's pretty. And the sky blue now. So you can mess with your consistency. This is kind of perfect for what I plan on using it for. So you can add, at this point, like if you were like, wow, that's really thin, then try adding more pigment to it and more gum arabic, and maybe it'll thicken up. But for myself, this is kind of what I wanted. So this one does have a different tone. It's very light on the black paper, like, you know, from this like being super blue to the paper. And this definitely looks more green compared to the sky blue, so I can see more green tint. To test that when I do the mermaid tail, because I don't know if I want her to have green. Right now she is blue and purple. Gray lavender. And I've already worked with this color before, so I already know it's gonna be gorgeous. These are really great for a number of projects though. If you're not a watercolor artist, I've seen people use it for stamps, which was super cool. So you have an ink, like a stamp ink that is kind of sticky or tacky. You apply pressure and with your stamp pattern, and then dump the pigment on top of it, scoot it around a little bit, just like you did as a kid with glitter, put the pigment, leftover pigment, back into the container, and the pigment that sticks to the stamp is left on it. I guess the fancy word is embossing. So yeah, I know it gets dark because I've worked with it before, and it can be. I don't know if I had watercolor black paper, if maybe this would pick up more or not. Since it's drying, it does seem to... Ooh, that's so pretty. It does seem to stand out compared to when it's wet. I might have to add more actual powder pigment and gum arabic to this guy, but everybody else is doing really well. One thing that's cool too is when the water, I don't know if you can see the swirl, it's so neat. So pretty. It looks magical. This is gorgeous. I wonder, now that I keep mixing it with my brush, I wonder if I should have used my spoon or something, maybe. I mean, it thins out. It doesn't, it's not clumpy, but obviously it gets in the, you know, the way end of the brush. Add a little bit of water for... I definitely think I'll use this for the tail. It is not as crazy on paper as it is in the palette. Yeah, so that'll work for her tail. Ooh. Very pretty. Let's see if we can do this up close. Lovely. I don't have black paper yet. It's so memorizing watching it move on the paper. Alright, let's try it again. We'll just add it right on top. Ooh, that is a lot better. Lovely. Yeah, he just needed a little bit more help. He had too much water. So I think I will use this one and this one for the mermaid tail. It's always good to swatch things out because you just never know. Made that mistake a couple times, just applying it on the project, and then you're like, oh, yikes. How do I cover that up? So that's it. A little bit more on the black. Super pretty. And again, this is not watercolor paper. It's just regular, like 50-pound journal paper. Let's paint a mermaid. So the water is not finished. I still have a lot of detail to go in with that. I can't decide about the lily pads yet, if I'm going to add veins to them or not. But let's go ahead and start this tail. So I wanted to see about these white ones and check out the white that I have over here. Just kind of pop it in. I'm starting with the white because I just kind of want to see how I want to do this. I'm not sure when I get to these scales if I'll just do the more colored part. I don't know. I was hoping this would give me a guide or a general idea. Like, these made me so nervous. I practiced scales a couple of times before doing these. Originally, I thought I was going to draw out each one with pencil. And then I was just like, I don't know if I want to take this much time. Like, is it really that scary? And then I just went for it. So all of these scales were watercolored, freehand, and it was the most terrifying thing ever. I don't know if I'll paint scales like this again. I saw another artist use another technique, and I want to try it, but this is definitely better than my practice runs. I hated my practice runs, but I'm glad that I did sketch and practice a little bit before I just started going. But I still wanted to have a purplish gray, so I might do the lavender, because this is shadow. Anyway, I have strips of paper left over from other projects. I make cards that are like 2 inches in height. So these are just leftovers from when I cut everything down. So I'll probably use a couple of them to kind of map out these are my Daniel Smith paints, which is ironic because I kind of use them for like sketching purposes sometimes. This was painted with my Etchr lab paints. I'm obsessed with them. I really like them a lot. Alright, so for gray, I actually already have a gray that is a part of the set. I think it was Jane's gray, I think. So we have that. I'll let it dry and then I'll apply the colors. And then let's add just a little bit of purple. So this is more of what the skin tone is, but this is like the spine or shadow. I just want to feel, I think, for both of them and get an idea. So on top of the regular gray, we'll put a tiny bit of the lavender, gray lavender. Put the gray lavender a tiny bit over the purple gray. So we're reactivating it because it was solid. These are dried, it's been 24 hours or more, and they're reacting. They're responding quite well. So it's the gray and the white. I like that. And lavender color and white. So I definitely think the pearl white is going to work for the gray part of her skin as well as the darker line. It looks good on the lavender gray as well as just the gray. Maybe I'll do a layer or so, because the gray lavender definitely shows more, but I think it's too different. So I'll start with the pearl white, maybe let it dry and see if I want to add gray lavender on top. So start out kind of thin, reactivate. A little bit of a thin layer. Now that I'm applying this, I might be able to add that pink. Not sure, maybe that'll be too much. It's subtle enough that it's not taking away from the skin tones that I laid out. Yeah, after all of this, I'll probably leave the hair alone. I don't want to make it too glittery. I just thought this would be kind of pretty for like her skin is glistening, you know, like the water. little bit is going a long way too, since it's not taking up an entire picture, and I'm just doing it on top of already painted work. You don't need a lot of paint or pigment. Touch up a little of the scales.